Rayman, look what the pirates have done to our world. A planet full of anguish and pain, haunted by evil. A dark place teeming with fierce monsters. Nothing can stop them now that they've captured you. They've taken everything and reduced our people to slaves. The robots search for innocent prey. In the chaos, they exploded the heart of the world. The 1,000 lumps of energy which form it have been scattered. We are getting weak. Soon, it will be too late. You must escape, Rayman. You are our only hope. Welcome back to Keeping BZ, the show where Zach and I show each other a video game to necessitate hanging out with each other. And this is one of both a childhood game and a game that still, even without the rose-tinted glasses, is in the pantheon of my favorite video games of all time, which is Ubisoft's 1999 masterpiece, Rayman 2, The Great Escape, which was released on N64, PS1, Dreamcast, PS2, Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS, iOS, and there was also a Game Boy Color version.
I did not know there was a Game Boy Color version.
It's just a very simple platformer, barely even follows like the same story as this game. Because how could you really, with how well animated and how many cutscenes there are? So I found this game in a bargain bin for PC games in like 2002 or 3 for $5. And I had no idea what this is, but the main character on the cover, this dude with no limbs that are just floating, just really intrigued me, and I picked it up and brought it home and played it on my PC. And of course, many kids grew up with Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and of course I grew up largely with Sonic the Hedgehog. But this game was a large influence on me creatively, and just in terms of what I like about games, and particularly 3D platformers. The music and the atmosphere of this game still trickle into my memory even nowadays. It just has this for lack of a better term, and it's gonna sound hokey, but there's a magic to the feel of this game. The way, where it just very seamlessly transitions from cutscene to gameplay, which was not really a thing back in 1999. Usually there would either be a loading screen or, it would do like a fade transition. So this was definitely a tone shift from the original Rayman, which was, a very kind of simple 2D platformer that was beautiful. Like graphically, the original Rayman sprite work is incredible. But as a game, I tried Rayman 1 years later, and its difficulty threw me off after just like a few levels in. Rayman 2 is much more balanced difficulty-wise. It's kind of a game that's accessible to pretty much anyone. Anybody could really get into this, though it took me a number of years before I actually finally finished a version of this game. But immediately, this game just took me in. And while I can say that wholeheartedly, the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise that I continue to follow even years later is a roller coaster of crappy quality games that range from mediocre to decent to sometimes even good to back and forth again. Rayman 2 is a game that outmatches most Sonic the Hedgehog games. And it's, but to be fair, like gameplay-wise, it is much simpler. You just run, you jump, you can glide using your helicopter hair, and you can throw your arms, and that's pretty much all of Rayman's moves. But the things it does with the level design, the things it does with character and story and atmosphere far surpasses most of what the Sonic games translated from Japanese to English accomplished. So Zach, you have a history with Rayman. You quite like the Rayman games, but I know that you've only played the PS1 version of this, which is actually very different from most other versions, and it didn't really click with you as much as, say, the more modern Origins and Legends games.
I played Rayman 1 as a kid and didn't like it because it was really hard. Like you said, I did play the PS1 version of Rayman 2 because Brandon talked about how good it was, and I had a PS3 and it was available in the PlayStation Collection, so that's the one I ended up playing. But it definitely is a more cut-down version compared to Dreamcast and a lot of other versions. So one day I should play other versions of Rayman 2, because I'm going to be honest, the PS1 version gave me a feeling of, meh, it's okay. But I really, really like Rayman Origins, and I especially adore Rayman Legends. Rayman Legends is great.
And all of them had the same lead developer. Every Rayman game was directed and had the main game design done by, I believe it's Michel Ancel, who was also the guy that directed another game I plan to do eventually for Keeping Busy, which is the Peter Jackson's King Kong game. He was also a large director on a lot of, he was the main designer and director of Beyond Good and Evil. A lot of, some of the greatest pieces of creative gaming art, for lack of a better term, that came out of Ubisoft back in the 2000s era. And Rayman 2 isn't just a game that came out on a million different systems. Every system version of this game is surprisingly different. It was originally developed every game, even multi-platform games, always have a specific one console that they develop their base version for. Rayman 2 was first developed originally it was going to be a PC game that they were going to spin off the consoles, but eventually the N64 version actually became the main version they based everything on, which unfortunately made them, decrease a lot of the texture quality of a lot of the game and how a lot of these environmental pieces are 2D objects. But you can see here, obviously in the PC version, they scaled everything up. The PC version is in some ways related to... It's based off the N64 version, but I notice a lot of stuff the PC version takes from the Dreamcast version. Like, for example, the CD quality soundtrack, while everything on the N64 version is, of course, MIDIs because of the limitations of that system. And I know some people that prefer, because the MIDI versions and the CD quality soundtrack are actually completely different compositions. They have different music. I know some people prefer some of the music from the N64 MIDI versions. I think the CD quality soundtrack that's fully orchestrated is immensely superior and leads to why this game feels like an animated movie at points, just because of how well animated and how well scored a lot of it is. It's not just a well composed score. It's also just, very, very memorable. And so this is based off the N64 version. So the characters speak primarily in gibberish. You can sort of sometimes hear words that sound almost English in what they say, but primarily it's all this very cutesy gibberish that continues to me, it just adds to the atmosphere of this world and make it feel like this strange mystical place. While in the PS1 version that Zach played, they actually had full English voice acting, which I remember being not too bad at all. It's just, I think this game works better without you understanding what the characters are saying and having it just... Because I feel like it's a lot more charming than the Banjo-Kazooie way of doing it, where every single word they say has a sound to it. I find that gets repetitive as I play more and more of Banjo-Kazooie. Well, here it's just, it's just kind of every single line they say is unique, and all the gibberish is unique to every piece of dialogue. So it's almost like it is a real language that they're, translating. It's still weird going from Rayman 1, which was just like a level-by-level game, which this is level-by-level too, but this feels much more like a interconnected world with a surprisingly dark story.
So is Murphy going to start talking about the manual?
No, this. So Zach's referencing Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc, which goes for a completely different tone than Rayman 2. It goes for like a comedy, fourth wall breaking tone. It's not even like, doesn't even feel like the same world. While Rayman 2 is very much just plays itself completely straight. It's just a interesting, strange, dark fantasy world where these metallic pirates have taken over, and you're one guy that's attempting to try to bring back the peace to the world. It's a typical hero's journey, just with a very strange and unlikely protagonist and strange creatures. But to me, that just adds to why Rayman is so distinct and memorable. Even when you get into like the later games like Origins, which don't really have much of a story, they're just great, fantastic art and exceptional level design and control. I'm gonna do a secret area here.
I think the story to Rayman Legends is that they snooped too much and then a villain got mad and now wants to murder them. Or is that Origins? It's one of those.
That does sound like Origins, because there is a similar plot in Rayman 3 where it's like so we're collecting lums right now, and there's all different kinds of lums. There are these strange fairies that all have different uses throughout the world in the Rayman games. So blue lums give you more air underwater, yellow lums are your main collectible, red lums are your health. And in Hoodlum Havoc, they introduce hoodlums, which are evil black lums. And the one you're trying to fight is called Andre, who's the leader of the evil black lums, and he comes in, just trying to rule the world or whatever, and you're trying to stop him. But that's just like the setup, and mainly Rayman 3 is just a setup for a lot of bizarre imagery and jokes. And I really like Rayman 3 as well. Like, I feel like it's more underrated than Rayman 2. I think Rayman 2 is pretty much a much more beloved game. But Rayman 3's focus on combat and making combos I find overall less interesting to me than the lack of HUD and atmosphere in Rayman 2. Oh, this music is so good. Every track, like, they balance having some sort of, like, what am I going to call it? It's always really bouncy and sometimes even has, like, a jazz sort of vibe, but they also add in a lot of other ethereal-type instruments that add to, like, the mythical feeling of the world. Like, the textures, I just really like the texture work in this game and how everything looks. All the little swirls in the vegetation.
Then, off screen, you told me you were playing with a mod that makes them better, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, the mod doesn't affect the texture. So I'm playing with what's called Rayman 2 Better, which is a mod made by fans that doesn't change the graphics. It more just mods the game to run better on modern computers. It adds controller support and a lot of other little touches that basically you now have like a launcher where you can actually change the resolutions, change the game's frame rates, change the layout of the controls, pretty much everything. You can force VSync on the game if you're having screen tearing issues. Basically, if you're going to play Rayman 2 on PC, that mod is like mandatory. The GOG version still runs fine, but if you want to play this game, you want to try to make this game run in windowed mode, you're better off just getting the Better Rayman 2 mod. It's very easy to install. Just look up Better Rayman 2 and they'll give you like a full tutorial on how to set it all up. And yes, there is also a Better Rayman 3 mod made by the same people that makes Rayman 3 run better on PC. Like, both games don't run bad on PC. They just have just some issues that will flare up if you're not, don't have the fan mods in.
Let's take a moment to salute people that do that.
Yeah.
To keep old PC games working on modern hardware. Because I know for a fact Steam don't give a shit. I had to get a fan patch back when I first got Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. That did not work on my modern computer. I had to go out of my way to go into the Steam forums and get a patch for my fan to get it to work. Which is why, if you're going to get an old PC game, you should probably go through GOG.
Yep.
I've never had an issue with a GOG game, but I think my brother also had issues running old PC games through Steam.
Well, I mean, from what I remember, Zach, the GOG version of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines actually has the fan patch already installed.
Alright, that's nice.
Because that's what GOG does. They actually put the effort in to make sure that the game works before they put it on their store, unlike Steam. They make that their developer's responsibility. But when it's like reviving an old abandoned game like Rayman 2 The Great Escape, you kind of have to go in and make sure it runs yourself. And so GOG's been doing that. They recently released Alpha Protocol, and they put the effort in to make sure that game actually runs well on modern computers.
Yeah, that's a game I haven't heard of since the PS3 era.
And I actually bought a PS3 version just a few years ago just because I was always interested in that game. And I actually still had a really good time with Alpha Protocol. Whatever issues the gameplay has, and it is very clunky and the AI is terrible, despite that, I honestly think that the story and the choices you make in-game are engaging enough that it more than makes up for any gameplay issues. But, you know, gameplay was clunky, so game bad. And that's why it didn't do too well back then. So you do have a shadow when you're hovering. That tutorial there was telling you have a shadow when you're hovering. So yeah, that's how you can actually tell when to land on these barrels.
I miss old circular shadows in 3D platformers. It's not as realistic, but it does help me. It does tell me where I'm going to land.
Oh, it helps you line up way better.
I really don't like 3D platformers that have the more realistic shadows because it makes it harder to judge distance. I think the Insane Trilogy gave... Actually, no, I don't. I think it gave him a more realistic shadow. It's been a while. Yeah, I don't think I've played many 3D platformers recently. Not that I can remember off the top of my head. Yes, Murphy, whisper sweet nothings into my ear.
I actually really like the sound they chose for Murphy's dialogue, where he makes this strange sort of whispery sound. It's very distinct.
I like it too.
Because obviously, yeah, in Rayman 3 they gave everybody full English voice acting, which works because they're trying to do jokes in that game. But yeah, like John, like I told Zach a couple days ago, John Leguizamo plays Globox, his like big frog-looking friend, and it's a strange casting choice, but it's neat. Like you can tell there's a lot of moments where they allowed the actors to like improvise and stuff. Okay. So the combat's pretty simple in Rayman 2. It's just a lot of strafing around the robots' shots and then just slapping them. And they get obviously a lot more complex combat-wise as you get deeper in the game. Ah, yes, carrying kegs. This is going to become very important the deeper you get into this game. What we need it right now for is actually something optional. So this door we can't break down with our fists, so we're going to need to throw one of these barrels here. And we have a cage up here. Which, honestly, while the cages are also a thing in, like, the Origins and Legends games, I feel like it just makes more sense in Rayman 2, because the whole point of it in Rayman 2 is that this is a world that's highly oppressed by the razor beard pirate regime. And so because of that, to me, like, these creatures in cages with their eyes poking out between the bars screaming help just to me made sense aesthetically for this game. Whereas, I mean, obviously I'm sure the villains are locking them up in Origins and Legends too, as well, and they kept it because it's, at that point it's just like an aesthetic feature of what makes the Rayman games distinct, but I felt like it worked better narratively in this game. I think this game does a great job of conveying a world that feels like it's oppressed, that it's like an ancient world that's existed for thousands of years, and there's all this lore that you don't know about all these strange creatures that live here. But now it's, similar to like Sonic, it's been overcome by just like mechanized machines and stuff that have taken it over and build their hideouts everywhere. Alright, let's try getting over here. Oh, but we can't. It's too far away, so we're gonna have to do something else. Oh! And who's this? Let's find the machine and destroy it. So that, in there, is what the characters called at the beginning of the game. That's Lai the Fairy, who is another friend of Rayman and Glowblocks, who was, just in. I don't even know if Lai was in Rayman 1. From what I mean, he saves a bunch of fairies in that game, but I don't remember any of the fairies. They looked like fairies in that game. Lai looks like almost like a forest spirit or something. I really like her design. All right, this can be a little tough, so we'll see how this goes. So as a kid, I had no idea how to do this one, but now as an adult, this is pretty simple. So you have to press the jump button to throw the barrel up into the air. Don't move. Hit the explosives when they come down. Then you're good. There we go. You got to do that 2 more times.
I guess technically the most recent Rayman game I played was Mario and the Rabbids: The Spark of Hope.
Which does have a Rayman DLC.
It does. It is weird, though, that Rayman kind of got replaced by the Rabbids of all things.
They're definitely very popular. Those games sold very well. They made a lot of them. But it feels bizarre that this party game took over the Rayman franchise. Which used to be one of the most respected platforming franchises ever. Which, it kind of did become that after Origins and Legends came out. Like, its reputation of being high quality came back. But yeah, then they just made a bunch more Rabbids games. Ah, this theme for Lai is great. Holocus. So yeah, those will be our MacGuffins of sorts in this game. Will be the 4 masks that we need to awaken basically the creator of Rayman's world, who is the strange creature known as Polocus. Who also has a very inspired and strange character design. I love all the character designs in this game. Because they're not just surreal, they're also just very appealing. I love the sound effect for Lai's dialogue as well. It's like this... It's like humming with this like echo reverb effect and some like spiritual sounds. Yeah, so purple lums you can't collect, but you can use them as grapple points to swing off of, which I feel bad for those guys, because they really, that means, yeah, they just hang there forever and do literally nothing else.
I mean, how do you know they're not going to future levels so you can swing off them then? How do you know it's not the same one, you keep saying?
I mean, that would suck. That means he's the last of his kind. I wouldn't feel good for him.
Or would you rather be the last of your kind or just stuck in one location for the rest of your life?
Oh, wow. I mean, if I'm... Well,
at that point, you might as well be the last of your kind if you're not going to see any of them ever anymore.
Well, I mean, I could see if they could come visit me, if there's a way I could do that. But yeah, I mean, if I'm locked in one place, they'd have to be able to find me. No. You may have noticed after Lai gave us some of our lums back, Rayman's fists, when he throws them out, have turned blue now, which means they're slightly more powerful and can defeat the pirates in less shots. And you'll continue to upgrade the power of your fists as you get deeper in the game. You can also play a little bonus game called the Walk of Life and the Walk of Power. And the Walk of Life temporarily gives you more health energy, and the Walk of Power temporarily increases your fists by giving you golden fists.
I'm guessing being able to charge your punch is a power you get later, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely will need that for destroying the armor of some of the more powerful robot pirates.
Thankfully, this game is not Rayman 1, where you don't even start with a punch power-up. Because Glowbox gives you the Silver Lum, which gives you the ability to punch, whereas Rayman 1, what really messed me up as a kid is I kept hitting the attack button, Rayman would not attack. No, you have to unlock that.
Well, yeah, and here it's just part of his normal repertoire. The PC version of this game was also bundled with a trailer for another Ubisoft platformer that also involves a character with no limbs and hands and feet that float, which is a game called Tonic Trouble. And the trailer that came with my disc was just the opening cutscene for it, and it traumatized me as a kid.
I might have heard of that game at one point, but I don't remember anything about it.
It's like, I remember the cutscene, it was like something like this evil Viking dude drinks this like, well, I mean, he's not even evil, he's just like this nice Viking guy who drinks this evil magic potion, and you see him like slowly transform into this monster. And you play as the guy that's like in charge of trying to get, you know, the potion back and to turn the world back and something like that. And I mean, the gameplay also almost feels like a prototype of Rayman 2, because like the protagonist he's purple like all over instead of, you know, just body like Rayman. It's a game I've always wanted to try, but I don't expect it in any way to be comparable to Rayman 2. So this cage is actually not going to have just an optional lum for us to collect. This cage actually has a teensy that'll open up the portal to end the level for us. Because yes, we are finally at the end of the Fairy Glade. It's one of the longest levels in the game. And we're not even done with the Fairy Glade yet, because if you've noticed, we haven't even gotten all the lums. That's because we're going to be coming back here and revisiting different sections of it. And that doesn't mean we're going to have to replay the Fairy Glade. It means that there's going to be a part in a later level where we're going to go through a door that just takes you into a section that leads you back into the Fairy Glade part of the world. But you're not going to be playing the same level. You're just going to be like in a different section of it. It's a bizarre choice, but it makes this world feel a lot more interesting and interconnected.
Oh, that dinosaur thing looks familiar.
Yes. So we're gonna do one more level, Zach, and then we'll stop. And we're gonna, because I do want to show off the Marshes of Awakening. This is a very unique level. Oh, this track. They're catchy, but they add so much to the atmosphere. I love the personality in this game too, like the animations of you breaking the piranha's teeth before they disappear. So I'm going somewhere we're not supposed to be going yet. Oh, and these things scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Oh, those are freaky.
Yeah, so those are called, I think, chicken skeletons is what the manual calls them, and I don't know what kind of fucked up chickens those are.
Oh, this is a different fantasy world. Maybe chickens are a different thing.
Warning, this is unknown territory. Tourism may be hazardous. So, here's a friend.
It's nice that in this oppressive world that they still allow tourism, I guess.
I guess. Only those who know the name of the place can enter. Maybe we'll have to come back there at some point.
Is that the land of the living dead? Or is that not a thing until Origins?
That's not a thing until Origins. That is the entrance to a place known as the Cave of Bad Dreams. Which also is a section of the game that freaked me out a lot as a kid.
Would you say it did indeed give you bad dreams?
I don't know if it gave me bad dreams per se, but I definitely always felt unsettled. Especially because there's a segment later on in the game where that guy that was guarding the entrance to the Cave of Bad Dreams chases you and tries to eat you. So.
Oh, that's not good.
And you, like, see his jaws. Like, the camera's from his POV while he's chasing you, so you see his jaws getting closer and closer.
Ooh.
So yes, this is our friend Sam. Another friend of Rayman's that is news to me that he's a friend of Rayman's because he definitely wasn't in the first game. I love Sam's big smile. He's having a good time even though he lives in the Marshes of Awakening. Oh, God. So yeah, you have to... I mean, it might also be the high frame rate that's throwing me off, but... Yeah, this segment can get pretty intense if you're not good at dodging these obstacles. There we go.
There's not lives in this game, are there?
Nope. It's like basically you have a health bar, and when the health bar runs out, you like reset to a checkpoint. But like it's a checkpoint that's further back. Ah, damn it. I need to get that other chest. I don't need to, but I do always try to 100% this game when I play it. Okay, I'm probably... I think he might move on, and I won't be able to get that last lum I broke out of the cage, but we'll see. Oh, there it is. Good. Yeah, there's going to be a loading screen, because there's a couple different sections to the ski level of the Marshes of Awakening. Oh, and they like to put the yellow lums next to those fucking bombs. There we go. Okay, I got it. I was just within its range. Oh! Damn, I was trying to get too greedy and get that lum. But since you have a fair amount of health, it's not that bad to just take a hit and then just reset the level because it's not that far away.
I do like that it's not an instant death.
Oh, no, not at all. This game is very forgiving and it's very accessible, which is probably why it on some level became so loved. Oh, and if you speed up, Rayman does this. There we go. Come on. Ah, didn't get it. Oh, well. I'm not going to try to do 100% on this Keeping BZ episode. I'm going to try to get what I can. Damn. Pirate was shooting me. Because at this level, you can actually get all of the lums and all of the cages in this level if you're good enough. Because yes, you will be revisiting this level to go to the entrance of the Cave of Bad Dreams, but thankfully, you don't have to worry too much about. Oh man, you don't have to worry too much about missing lums that you're not going to be able to get until later. You will be able to get all of them because they're all on this ski part of the level. There we go. Oh, God, he's... So that was because I got the line too close to one of those wooden poles and it snapped. That wasn't actually because of the piranha.
Oh, okay.
So what maybe what it wants me to do is speed up more so that way I can get out of the piranha's range. There we go. He fished a yellow lum, and then I took it back. There we go. Oh, I got all the lumps. Well, never mind then.
You did it.
Poor Sam. He was back to be alone in the swamps. But Rayman promises he'll see him again. He won't. At least not in this game. Yeah, we got all the lums and all the cages. Awesome. So, 100% complete. Yep, not too long.
I like this dance.
That is the mystical portal opening dance. Bonus level activated. So, what is this bonus level? Oh, it's this thing! Okay. So I guess we'll do this quick. This pretty little fairy has gifts for Rayman. Help baby Gobox get to her before the pirate does. And I love the pirate. He just looks like the not even the first mate, just like one of the scruffs that works below decks. All right. What did it say there? I need to hit left and right primarily, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, left and right.
All right, let's see if I can do this. Oh, this is tough because you have to keep this up for a while. Okay, the pirate just fell over. Damn it. Oh, well. I think that just gives us a slight health boost or something. Oh, man, you really have to be tapping that. And I'm using an Xbox Series X controller, which if you know anything about that controller, the gamepad on it's not amazing.
Do you want to restart the rate? Oh.
This is not going to work. Can I use the analog stick? No, the analog stick doesn't even work at all. Let's just go back to the Hall of Doors. So the next Rayman level, I believe... Oh, okay, the Bayou. Oh, that's also a good level. Ugh. Oh, well. But yeah, we'll wait. Or maybe we'll do another Keeping BZ where I'll go do more of Rayman 2. But I wanted to keep this one relatively short for our standards. So if you enjoyed this and you'd like us to see cover another couple levels on Rayman 2, just let us know. Like I said, this is a game that I truly do love to death. It is one of my favorite platformers and one of my favorite games of all time. I have a lot of affection for it, and I'd like to do more if people are up for it and if Zach can tolerate me talking for most of it.
Nah, it's fine. This is a game you love, and you know about it way more than you do. You know about it way more than I do. But if you do want to see more Rayman 2, you are going to have to wait for the Keeping BZ streaming service to start up. Oh, yes, yeah. So we're just going to completely get out of doing Keeping BZ and our YouTube channel, and we're going to start up you're going to have to subscribe to our streaming service for Let's Plays, and which will then immediately get taken down with a cease and desist. I'm actually surprised no one started that yet. A streaming service specifically for Let's Plays.
You would think, but I think Twitch is basically that at this point. In a sense.
That's fair.
I mean, I know that's live and some Let's Plays are edited, but yeah.
I think YouTube has the monopoly on Let's Plays, but I'm surprised no one's at least tried it. But,
That all said, thanks for joining us for another installment of Keeping BZ. And if you have thoughts about this game, if you love this game yourself, let us know in the comments your experiences or maybe some of your memories. I talked about some of my fears of playing this game as a kid. What are some of your thoughts on it? And have a good day, have a good night, have a good time whenever you're watching this episode.